Here we see St. Teresa of Avila, also known as St. Teresa of Jesus. She lived in 16th century Spain. Teresa came from a large family, and when she was young, she loved to dance and sing. She was very much a people person. Teresa had a love for God. It wasn't fully developed, but it led her to join the Carmelite convent in Avila. There, she lived a life that was following the rule, but was not on fire for Christ as much as it later would be. Teresa experienced some sickness, and during that time, she was led to think about her love for Christ more deeply, to think about what Christ had done for her. She's depicted holding a cross, meaning that she, Teresa of Jesus, as we often call her, came to have a personal relationship with Jesus. People were advising all kinds of ways to pray when Teresa was alive, and she listened to those ways, she respected them. But she once said, "When I pray, my favorite way of praying is to think of Jesus, the same Jesus I would see depicted on the cross, in me, and to think of him rejected and killed, crucified, because of his faithfulness to what he believed in. I think of Jesus loving me right to the end. And if I think of him in that humiliated way, still loving through it all, then that helps me to know how much he loves me, and it helps me to pray. And if I can think of him being so disrespected, I can think of myself, lowly as I am, and I can feel at home with him." So Teresa thought that her life needed to be better. And so she started to be living a holier life, a more prayerful life, a more virtuous life. And after a while, she decided to let others in on that. And she became the great reformer of the Carmelite communities of women in the 16th century in Spain. And that reform, which became the Descalced Carmelites, the shoeless Carmelites, has lived on to this day. Teresa has become an expert on prayer. She pictured her relationship with God too as a castle of 7 rooms. You start at the threshold of the first, but all the way as you move from the first castle apartment onto the 7th, the highest one, the center one, you can always see the gleaming light of God beckoning you on. And so as you move closer, your prayer gets more committed, more fervent, and your way of living becomes more loving. She wrote a book called The Way of Perfection to guide other sisters, but to guide all of us really, to know the ways of God and to grow in holiness. St. Teresa of Avila is certainly a saint who teaches us the importance of intimacy with Christ. She loved Christ. She knew Christ loved her. St. Teresa of Avila, pray for us. The window in memory of Teresa has been given in memory also of William and Margaret Mitchell. It was given when Holy Name Church, Lower Church, was built.